Ethical leadership refers to a form of leadership that emphasizes moral and principled behavior, guided by a keen sense of ethics and integrity. Ethical leaders prioritize fairness, transparency, and responsibility in their decision-making and actions. They set an example for their followers by adhering to ethical standards and encouraging a culture of ethical behavior within the organization. Here are key characteristics and principles of ethical leadership. 1. Integrity. Ethical leaders exhibit elevated levels of integrity. They are honest, transparent, and consistent in their actions, aligning their behavior with ethical principles and organizational values. 2. Trustworthiness. Trust is a cornerstone of ethical leadership. Leaders build trust by consistently demonstrating reliability, honesty, and ethical decision-making, fostering a sense of trust among their followers. 3. Fairness and justice. Ethical leaders treat all individuals fairly and justly. They avoid favoritism, discrimination, and bias, ensuring that decisions are made impartially and with consideration for the well-being of all stakeholders. 4. Respect for others. Ethical leaders respect the dignity and rights of all individuals. They create an inclusive and supportive work environment where diversity is valued, and everyone is treated with dignity and respect. 5. Accountability. Ethical leaders take responsibility for their actions and decisions. They hold themselves accountable and encourage a culture of accountability within the organization, where individuals take ownership of their conduct. Open communication. Ethical leaders foster open and transparent communication. They encourage dialogue, listen to diverse perspectives, and ensure that relevant information is shared with stakeholders to make informed decisions. Courage. Ethical leadership requires courage to stand up for what is right, even in the face of challenges or adversity. Leaders are willing to take principled stands and address ethical concerns within the organization. Ethical decision-making. Ethical leaders make decisions based on ethical considerations. They consider the impact of their choices on all stakeholders, balancing short-term and long-term consequences and adhering to ethical principles. Community and social responsibility. Ethical leaders recognize the broader impact of their decisions on the community and society. They engage in socially responsible practices, contribute to the well-being of the community, and consider the environmental impact of their actions. Humility. Ethical leaders demonstrate humility and a willingness to learn. They acknowledge their own limitations, seek feedback, and are open to constructive criticism, fostering a culture of continuous improvement. Setting clear expectations. Ethical leaders establish clear expectations for ethical behavior within the organization. They communicate values, ethical standards, and expectations to employees, creating a shared understanding of the organization's ethical culture. Balancing stakeholder interests. Ethical leaders consider the interests of various stakeholders, including employees, customers, investors, and the wider community. They seek to balance these interests in a way that respects ethical principles and promotes overall well-being. Long-term perspective. Ethical leaders take a long-term perspective in decision-making. They consider the sustainable impact of their actions on the organization, its reputation, and its relationships with stakeholders over time. Conflict resolution. Ethical leaders address conflicts with fairness and empathy. They facilitate constructive resolution, encouraging open dialogue and finding solutions that align with ethical principles. Leading by example. Ethical leaders lead by example. Their behavior serves as a model for ethical conduct within the organization, inspiring others to uphold high ethical standards. By representing these principles, ethical leaders contribute to the development of a positive and ethical organizational culture, fostering trust, engagement, and long-term success. Ethical leadership is not only about adhering to rules and regulations but also about making morally sound decisions that contribute to the well-being of individuals and society.